Welcome in, Pirate Fans. Tonight's podcast with Coach Rob Woodward. Coach, congratulations so far this season. I know that you don't really want to kind of talk about it, but you did secure a playoff home win against Memphis. Against Valley. Talk about the Valley game, what you saw in the Valley game that really pleased you.
Well, I saw our kids continue to battle and recognize that there need to be adjustments made throughout the early parts of that ball game. And they were coachable. That's something we've talked about, over the last 5-6 years. Just really, as we embark on a very complicated offense, and at times defensively, guys have to be locked in and laser focused on what they need to do and be coachable. And that's something that you have to have every year. But we've just really gotten, I think, our assistant coaches good at recognizing our players' abilities and where they can be successful and who we can use in certain situations. And they do such a great job of working with those guys on the sidelines at halftime and being adjustable to different things. And I think our guys did that against Valley in situations where we needed to. And we went back as a coaching staff and said, okay, what are some things we need to do different? And anytime you face that, it's just good. It's good to see how your team responds.
One player that actually had a real good game, and I believe we gave him player of the game, was Tanner Wilson.
Yeah, Tanner had a monstrous game. He's just getting better and better with recognizing what we expect out of him. We've moved him from a linebacker position down to the defensive line position at defensive end, and he's got to be coachable. He's worked with all of our coaches in terms of how they want him to play certain techniques with his hands and certain things that he does, and Tanner's just been growing and getting more comfortable, and we've utilized him a little bit on offense there as well, and just trying to find ways that he's a big, strong guy that plays the game of football hard, and we try to use all of them that we can.
Coach, you move on to Portsmouth West, and I know with the win against Valley, you at least share the SOC, but I know you guys are always gunning for that SOC title outright. What do the Pirates have to do to go out there tomorrow night to win outright?
Well, we put in the time that as needed in practice to make sure that we're ready for Friday night's game, and weather is an unpredictable factor that could play into it, but Coach Caskey we've planned ahead, and we've tried to think of different things that we need to have as a team to be ready for that. And we'll see what happens with that. But we've got to come out and just execute, and we've got to come out and really fire off the ball and look to establish a line of scrimmage that we can control on both the offense and defensive perspective, and be sound on special teams, and all three facets of the game. West is going to force you to do that because they're a good football team, and you can't make mistakes against good football teams, or they're going to capitalize on it. And if we're going to truly be a championship caliber team, we've got to make sure that we're holding up our end of the bargain for what needs done on all three phases of the game.
Coach, you've had a long season so far, and you come down to Week 10. Assess just your overall the regular season up until now.
Wow, it's amazing to me, and Coach Johnson and I were talking about this tonight. It's Week 10. I mean, golly, it just flies by. Once you get going, it just zooms by, and you're week to week trying to get in there. But I've been posed the question a lot: how do you compare this team to, of course, last year's team or teams of the past? But we came in there Week 1. And there was a lot of areas that we kind of felt could be stronger, and I think they showed that in those first 5 games that we had. They showed a sense of being stronger than even we were at this time last year in those first 5 games. The offensive line, I think, has been something that was developed really as scout team players last year against that good defense that we had, trying to give them the best look that they can. And then they came in this year and got better and gelled together more and more, and I think they're continuing to develop. We brought back a lot of skilled position players that were had a lot of experience on both the secondary and the offensive side of the ball. But those guys have too started to recognize where they best can contribute and how they can block for one another and how they can continue to get better and better. And then, of course, we use as many of those guys on special teams as we can. And I'm really, really pleased with where our team is right now, week 10. And what I've seen out of them, strength wise, we're right there. Last year I keep track of everything. Last year we averaged 82% of our team that was setting personal maxes throughout the season last year. As we started to look at rep maxes, and we're at about 79% right now with our team this year, and 5 weeks possibility that we're looking at from this point on as we do embark on the playoffs next week. But I look to see those guys because really, when you look at the strength of the team, you kind of have a decline there in the middle. But I'm hoping, and I'm seeing it now, that week 9 and 10 turn, where we start to see growth in terms of those players, in terms of a strength-wise. So, I'm just trying to make sure as a coach I'm mimicking a lot of those things that I saw work well for us last year and putting our guys in situations to continue to physically and mentally prepare. And the guys are responding great.
Coach, if you look down at your lower levels, the 7th grade, they had a winning season. The 8th grade had a winning season. Your freshmen and your JV team all had successful seasons. Looking down at the coaching staff on those levels, what would you like to say about those guys?
Oh, they do a great job. They're out there in the summer working with us. People ask me all the time, and of course I got asked the question a lot last year, as I went to different clinics and things and spoke. What leads to your program success? And it's really having coaches and having people that buy into what you're trying to do as a varsity team. And we've got guys at those levels, all the way down to the 5th and 6th grade level. I'm excited to see our 5th and 6th grade program turn out, which, by the way, Saturday night is the Pee Wee Super Saturday. We've got flag games at 5, and then we've got the 4 teams playing one another beginning at 6:30 tomorrow or Saturday night up at Ed Miller Stadium. And those kids are going to be the future of the program one day. But they're running our offensive stuff right now, defensive stuff right now. They're learning. Those coaches have listened to us as offensive and defensive coordinators and how we want things coached and terminology we want used. And the same thing's carried into our 7th grade. One thing I've prided Nathan Fannin, our 7th grade coach, I've seen players play multiple positions, and it's not something where he's pigeonholing a guy as a running back or as a lineman, or he's trying to work and move guys around and let them know that they can be versatile, because who knows where they'll be when they become a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. And getting them to understand that however they can contribute to the team is what's best. And that same thing is, again, 8th grade, the same coaches work with them. We get into 9th grade. Josh McFadden's done a fabulous job with our kids who really saw a year of growth this year at that freshman level. And there's a talented group there with that'll be contributing and is contributing now even as we move into the JV. Our varsity guys are stretched so thin. Jared Tilley, Bryson Williams, Steve Sutton are all devoting time down there, not only on the varsity program but with the JV program. And player development. I talk about that all the time, player development. We're trying to develop these young men to be the best players that they can possibly be in the game of football. And it's definitely working for program success.
Well, that's just the stuff you can mention. You can't give all the secrets out, can you?
Oh, no. You gotta keep a few back. But going back to some of those clinics, I try to share as much as I can. I want to see high school football, especially in Southern Ohio. I take a lot of pride for Southern Ohio, and I think we're seeing great football now. As you look at the region that we're in, we've got 3 of our SOC teams that are in the top half of that region that have been playing great football this year and putting together lots of wins. You're seeing the same kind of thing over in Region 19. The OVC has got some great football being played over there too, with some teams getting a lot of wins. So you love seeing Southern Ohio football flourish. Love to see it advance, and I think you're going to see more of that to come in the future.
Coach, any final thoughts before we get off this? week?
Again, I mentioned the Pee Wee games there Saturday. I hope to see a lot of people out for that and supporting that. And we had a great Feed the Team this week. The MOPS program does a fabulous job of taking care of our young men and seeing that they're ready to go. And talked a little bit about the coaches in the younger programs, but I got some great managers too that really help our program out. Dave Watts, Dave Blevins. I got Alex Hackworth, the student manager with us, Tyler Ray, a student manager with us, Matt Salisbury and Brian Kraft both devote a lot of time to film, helping us out. And it's all those things that just really help to keep things going. When you look at the technology that we utilize now as a staff, and the ability to, upload things on the sidelines and share with our players. It's just the game of football is really advanced, and I feel like we're right at the forefront of it, and we are helping to make the experience the best it can be for these kids. And I'm just so thankful to be in a community and to have the support and help that I do have, and the opportunities to recognize kids like we have. It's just go Bird.
Thanks a lot, Coach, and good luck this week.
All right, thank you.